I think I'm going to do a what I've learned from this winter snowstorm, snowpocalypse. And this is something I should have done first. This is one thing I should have learned and done. We didn't have water to flush our toilets, but if I had filled the bathtub up before all this happened, it would have been no problem. Anyway, oh yeah, reading material. Since you're here, and like making supplies. Oh yeah, that's a dirty book there. Oh yeah. Another dirty book. This is where I get my boxes to ship my knives. Okay, I got a coffee and a bag of trash, and I'm gonna walk down there. So you're gonna be in my pocket for just a second. So please just endure the darkness. It's 36 degrees right now, and the snow is starting to melt off the roof. And I'm telling you, underneath this snow is solid freaking ice, man, which is why I barely was able to get out of here yesterday to go get a PVC fitting. We've had no trash pickup, but fortunately we don't generate a lot of trash. All right, let me take you out of my pocket. So, boy, you dogs ought to let up on the squirrels a little bit. They've had a hard few days. So let's go down here. Don't worry about the flower beds. They're dead. So, nobody expected to see this kind of extreme weather here. When I was growing up in Connecticut, this was not uncommon. So people had water and food and clothing and firewood, and I can still barely walk on this stuff. And looking back, I seriously should have done some other stuff. These two lawnmowers, I should. By the time I realized that I should have got everything out from underneath my carports, I didn't dare go underneath the carports. Yeah, I've got my gas pressure washer up under there, and my toolbox, and my John Deere trailer, and my wife's $4,500, or maybe it's $3,500 lawnmower. Yeah, it's not been good. Who could have expected? That's the thing. I didn't expect this, or else I'm a proactive person, and I definitely would have done something about it. Walk a little bit more. And if I had known this was going to happen, I could have come out here. I would have bought a bunch of 2x4s and, jacked this thing up underneath it and held it up with some, temporary 2x4s. But, I didn't. A lot of this is my fault for not being proactive. But in my defense, by the time I realized how bad it was going to be, it was too late for me to do anything. This, I never expected this to come down because of the extreme steep angle. I mean, it was at the edge of the roof, down. I mean, that is an extreme angle. I didn't expect the snow to, number one, stay on it. So consequently, all my important stuff is still under here. I truly way underestimated the damage that could be done. There's my gator. Poor thing. All my tools. Boy, my forge down there. Let me see if I can open my back door, because this is the door I left open. I'm gonna put you in my pocket again. 1 second. Can't even open my dang door. Come on. I gotta bust this ice off of here before my door will open. It's still solid freaking ice here. Good God. Come on if you're coming, Breezy, because I'm going to close the door. Let me get a light turned on. All right, come on. All right, sorry you had to sit through all that. So, I should have filled up my bathtub first thing. How hard would that be? Because, number one, we had pipes freeze and we were out of water for, I guess about 24 hours. And then number two, I was certain I had all the plumbing parts that I needed. I've showed you in another video. Maybe I did or didn't. But, you know them big plastic tubs? Well, I've got 2 of them filled up with P-traps and wax rings and toilet ball cocks and, yes, I said ball cock. Just numerous PVC fittings and bits of pipe and collars and elbows and 45s and 90s and T's. But the one thing I needed, I did not have, and that was a cap. And somehow I ended up with some Schedule 80 stuff in my supply cabinet. So I fashioned up, a Franken connection with some Schedule 80 that I made fit Schedule 40 pipe. I mean, they're not that terribly different, but they don't fit together for a reason, because they don't want you to mistake Schedule 40 fittings for Schedule 80 and vice versa. So anyway, I made something that worked until the next day, or 2 days, and it started leaking. Where it was leaking was where the threads were, because I had to thread something together. And I used Teflon tape, but probably not enough. So there was a drip coming out of there, and the drip got bigger and bigger as the 2 days went by. So it was all I could do at the time, because nothing was open. And Friday, yesterday, today's Saturday, our hardware store was open. So I managed to get the truck out of here. I almost couldn't get it up the hill going out, and even coming back was dangerous. Anyway, and the time it took me to go from my house to the hardware store and back, which is probably 20 minutes, my wife said I hadn't been gone 3 minutes and this roof here came down. So just missed hitting me, because I had just gone out that door. Actually, I was down here, and I was putting some dicam on that. I'm fixing to cut out a bunch of dinner skinners. I have Ann wants 2 more dinner skinners. Man, she has bought some knives from me. So I was going to do a little work down here, and when I was putting the dicam on there, my wife called me and said, I just went out and looked at that pipe and it's dripping. Well, here's a secret. I knew it was dripping a little bit, but it was all I could do until parts were available. I intended to fix it just as soon as I could get, the right part. But the bottom line is we had water, we could flush our toilets, we could take a bath. It was just continuing to have a minor, very slow drip, which I was willing to live with for a couple of days in order to have water to do that, to flush our toilets. So anyway, apparently it had gotten worse. So I went up there, I left here, and I went up there and looked at it, and it was more of a trickle than you could live with. So I called our hardware store just to see if they were open, and sure enough, they had just got there. They were only going to stay open for a couple hours until it froze back up, which it did last night. So I went up there and got the parts I needed and fixed it right. So there's something I've learned to keep a better inventory of my PVC parts. Hold on, let me get a drink of this coffee before it gets cold. Good coffee. And what else? Yeah, I should have gotten everything out from underneath them awnings. If I had any clue that it was going to be this bad, I'd have done two things. I'd have got some 2x4s and propped it up and gotten all my, important stuff out from underneath them. So, bad on me. I've lived here since 1980, and nothing like this has ever happened. This trailer has been here with these awnings since 1983. Nothing like this has ever happened. So, I've mentioned before that this is just like a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation thing. Oh, and here in our town of Wascom, we had a gigantic barn in the center of town here that they've been using as a flea market. That caved in, totally collapsed for the same reason, snow load. Anyway, if I think of anything else that I should have done, I got plenty of gas. I've got like 80 or 90 gallons of stored gasoline that I use. And actually, I've got like 40 gallons that I treat with Stable. So it's good for a year and a half, 18 months, maybe 2 years. And then the other gas that I keep in 2-gallon cans that I use frequently. As a matter of fact, we fill our motorcycles up here. And then when I get half a dozen cans empty, I go fill them back up. So the gas gets cycled through the vehicles or the lawnmowers or the motorcycle, or sometimes I pour it in the truck. And propane. Man, I've got a couple of 100 gallons of propane. I mean, I could cook and heat probably for a year without worrying about it. Bev has a natural gas generator, or a whole house generator, so, we'd be able to wash clothes and take a shower at her house if we had to. We'd be able to heat our house up enough to keep it from freezing. So, we have plenty of food, plenty of toilet paper, plenty of water, drinking water, bottled water. That's nothing. Our town, and lots of towns around us, have completely run out of water. They can't keep up with the demand, and the reason is because every house in town is letting their water trickle so their pipes don't burst. And, who expected that, huh? That's something I never thought about. Your town running completely out of water and unable to produce enough to provide everybody who wants it with water. Another sip. So, we just bought these motorcycles. I've had 3 electric heaters running in this trailer to keep my pipes in here from freezing up. Underneath the trailer is PEX, which you don't have to worry about bursting. So I didn't want to have to work on the plumbing in this trailer, so I left 3 heaters running aimed at the plumbing in the trailer. So that's 5 or 6 days of heat, electricity that I'm going to have to pay for down here. Our house, that heater has run 24 hours a day for 5 or 6 days now, trying to keep up with how cold it is. And then on top of that, we had about 16 or 18 hours worth of water running from underneath our house when I didn't realize we had our pipes freeze up. And then suddenly it thawed out and we had water. So, like a dummy, we didn't let it trickle, and it froze up again overnight and broke. and then thawed out again, and then ran for about 16 or 18 hours before we realized that we had a leak. So who knows how much water we're going to have to pay for. Our light bill is going to be just astra-freaking-nomical. And on top of that, I got 2 awnings down and 2 motorcycles I just bought. Just everything just happened at once. And I really wanted to get an electric kiln. Now I got nowhere to put it. If I get one, they're $1,400. I was going to put it on the opposite side that my gas forge is on, because I have a 220 line out there. And I still may do it, but now all that's getting pushed way back. I got to buy lumber, and I'm going to redo my awnings on both sides because I have to have them. Alrighty, I just can't think of anything else that I've learned. Here's one thing I know. I left New England when I was 16 years old because I absolutely hated cold. And I never went back. And I would never, ever, ever live in cold country again. I would rather live on the equator than move back to cold country. I hate cold that much. It just hurts me all over. And then, there's the daily 24/7 struggle of living in that kind of cold with snow and shoveling driveways and plowing roads and avoiding people who are going too fast. And yeah, it's just, I just don't know how people live like that. I'm glad they do, because if, somebody's got to live up there in a cold country. If nobody wanted to live in cold country, they'd all be here. And of course, seems like everybody up in cold country is not everybody, but they sure are the blue states. They are run by Democrats, and I don't know why that is. Maybe cold makes people not think so straight. I don't know, but wherever there's a heavy concentration of people, it's all Democrats. I don't know why that is, and all the Democrats seem to live in the northern areas where it gets a lot of snow. That's what's the connection there? Does roll salt make people, vote blue? I don't know. Okay, I'm going to drink my coffee, do a little workout here. See ya. All right, and I got both of yours cut out, shaped and formed. Now I need to... here's something new. I'm only going to use 2 pins on my dinner skewers from now on. 3 pins is just too much. And in order to get it far enough away from the nose, the end of the wood handles, you got to move it back far, and it kind of crowds the pins. And it, with the epoxy I use, the pins are unnecessary. They're mostly for looks. Very little of it is for function, although they are there if the epoxy should ever let go. But they don't need 3 pins. And it looks better with only 2 pins. This is the giveaway neck knife. I haven't decided what color sheath I'm going to make. But right now, I'm going to make me a cup of coffee. I'm going to go outside, and I'm going to look closely at the edges, see where the awning's attached. I'm going to look closely there and see what I got to do to build back better. Build back better. That should be a campaign slogan. Wouldn't that make a good campaign slogan? All right, let me get some coffee and then walk around outside and imagine how I'm going to rebuild all this, but much, much stronger. This is Bev's house. Well, I just went and got a fitting for Bev. Oh, yeah, okay. Look at this awning right here. This collapsed. Wow. That's like 4-inch pipe and 2.5-inch pipe. Golly, it's hard to believe. I mean, the amount of weight that had to bring down something that heavy. And there's something else up here, a barn. We'll see it in a minute. Yes, I'm not wearing my seatbelt. Oh yeah, this barn here, you can't see it from here, but it totally collapsed. Let's see if you can see it from the side. Yeah, Yep, the roof fell in. Let's see, what else? If I see anything else, I'll show you. Wherever there's shade on the road, the ice hasn't melted yet. We've had, this is probably 2 or 3 inches thick with ice. This is why everything's shut down. Everything is closed. Although our hardware store, they know that they're the only game in town, so they did come in and, you know, so people could, see, they're out of gas. They have no gas there. They have no food. The roads were absolutely impassable. And now the interstate is shut down, so they've got all the interstate traffic on this road, which is Highway 80. What a mess. Good God almighty, this is just unbelievable. This here on the right is called Progress Rail. And this is how much history I have in this area. About 33, 34, 35 years ago, I used to haul out of this place. And what they do is build and rebuild railroad axles, wheels, and trucks. And train trucks are the double wishbone looking things that fit over the axles and the wheels. And I used to pick up wheels all over the country on a flatbed, bring them here, and have them what they do is rebuild the wheels and the bearings and the axles and stuff like that. They re-true them, they melt scrap. You know, you can bring the railroad spikes and all the things that they tore up when they replace tracks, the little plates that the spikes go through and all that. Yeah, I've hauled a lot into and out of that place there. And I worked for a company, a flatbed outfit called Robertson Transport, and they were right here in Wasco. And all they had was a little tiny building. They didn't have an office. I mean, they had an office, not anywhere you could park your truck. So whenever you came home, you had to find a place to park your truck. Okay, here's that place on the left with awning fell. Yeah, that's incredible. All over town, there's buildings that have caved in and awnings that have come down. And on Facebook Marketplace, people are advertising their caved-in carports for free if you just come get it. And I got a feeling there's going to be a whole bunch of scrap going to the scrap yard here. There's a perfect example of dissimilar metals creating, I think it's called electrolysis, which results in basically 2 dissimilar metals melting together. And here's a perfect example. This is an aluminum hose thread, aluminum, on a brass faucet. And what happened was they were completely fused. I came down here and put it in my vise and couldn't get it to let go. So I ground some of the aluminum away, and then I put a pipe wrench on it, and I managed to get it off because I don't have any faucets. That's another thing I'll have to put on my list of things I need. So now I'm fixing to go, I gotta go sand the PVC that broke on Bev's, because I don't know what is on it. It's glue that dripped all down the side of it that this won't slide over unless I sand it all off. So I had to go back by my knife shop and get some sandpaper. All right. No leaks, no leaks, no leaks. Okay. Alrighty. I gotta find a 5-gallon bucket and stick over that. We got one more freezing night, and then I think we're through this.